panel discussion now, and basically that will last up to 3:45. Then we have a big problem with a person who is actually going to speak in the next technical session, Dr. Ritvik Banerjee, but he has to take a flight. So what we propose, he will immediately after the panel discussion, before tea, he will present his paper. We have a small discussion on his paper, then he can leave. Then we have a break for tea, and then we can have time enough for the 2 technical sessions after the tea. So we will start now with the panel discussion. 1 panelist is less, so we have 2 panelists and a wonderful chairman. So I leave it to you to Govind Bhattacharjee, to chair this panel session.
Thank you. Very good afternoon to everybody. Let me first begin by paying tribute on my own behalf and on behalf of my panel to the person in whose honor this seminar is being organized, our Director P. Ghosh. During my long years of association with ADRI, I have learned so many things from Dr. Ghosh, and I wish to learn many more things in the years to come. And this particular seminar on social statistics is a fitting tribute to him. Goza.
Thank you very much.
In fact, this seminar could not have come at a more opportune time, when we are right in the midst of a raging controversy about the reliability and credibility of our GDP numbers, when serious questions are being raised about the very high discrepancy, probably the highest in the history, of about 4.7% in the GDP estimates for the quarter January to March, and which is raising very serious questions about the validity of the growth rate estimates of 7.9% during the quarter. But it is in no way to cast any doubt on the integrity and the competence of our statisticians. It has more to do with the methods, or rather, the lack of clarity in public perception about these methods. And there are some elements which probably are also giving some deletion of growth, as some people are calling it. To give an example of this, among the elements which contribute to the GDP is the export minus import. Now, it's common knowledge that our exports have been declining over the past 1.5 years, but our imports have also been declining. But since the decline in the imports has been more than the exports, therefore the net result is growth. Now this some may call a delusion of growth, because no real growth is coming to the GDP from this sector, but this is inherent in the estimates. Now we, with a layman, the arm we don't understand much about the increase of this official statistics, which is why we have got 2 experts today in this panel, from the CSO and the NSSO respectively, which are the major arms of government's official statistics collection machinery. I'm sure everybody in this room would be fairly acquainted with the mechanism and the machinery for collection of official statistics. In case someone is not, let me give you a very brief outline. The statistics or collection of data is the responsibility of center and the states both, and this responsibility is discharged by the ministries and departments of the center and the states. At the center level, the statistical activities are coordinated between the different ministries and also with the international organizations by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, while in the states it is under the directors of economics and statistics. Now, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation has 2 major wings, the statistics wing and the program implementation wing. The statistics wing is called the National Statistics Office, which comprises the Central Statistical Office, CSO, and the National Sample Survey Organization, or the NSSO. The CSO is the nodal agency in respect of planning and coordination of all statistical operations within the different sector ministries, where the NSSO conduct the national surveys. As well as the public finance statistics, the Comptroller and Auditor General of India prepares the public finance statistics in respect to the states of India, while the Comptroller General of Accounts does it to the center. This is a very brief outline. Now, today in the panel we have got two eminent statisticians, Mr. Krishna Kumar, who is the Deputy Director General, the Central Statistical Office, the Social Statistics Division. As a member of the Indian Statistical Service, he has earlier worked in various ministries and National Sample Survey Organization. In his present assignment, he is in charge of the Environmental Statistics Unit, which is responsible for data relating to sustainable development goals, environmental development accounting, environment, climate change, disaster management, and health and nutrition. He has received the Silver Award for e-governance in 2009 from the Government of India. Today he will be speaking to us about the capacity development issues with specific reference to the SDGs. In fact, we will take off from where the Chief Statistician, Professor Anand, had left yesterday. We have the other panelist in this panel is Mr. P Mondal, who is the Deputy Director General in charge of field operations at Patna of the NSSO. Mr. Mondal has completed his MStat with specialization in applied statistics and data analysis from the Indian Statistical Institute in 1981. He joined the Indian Statistical Service. He has worked both in field divisions, field operations divisions, and survey design and research division of the NSSO. During the period from 2004 to 2009, he was on foreign assignment as regional expert on Statistical Information and Monitoring Program on child labor in Asia and the Pacific region of International Labour Organization. From 2009 to 2014, he had worked as Statistical Advisor to the Central Border Commission. And during 2014-15, he was again on foreign assignment as Chief Technical Advisor of the International Labour Organization, the International Labour Organization project in Myanmar. Currently, he is also holding the additional charge of the regional office, Muzaffarpur. We initially had a third panelist, Dr. Abhay Bham, a renowned healthcare expert and social activist, who couldn't come because of some reasons. So we've got two panelists, in the panel, and we've got time till in the 2:45. So each panelist can take not more than 20 minutes, after which we still have about 10 minutes time to interact with the audience.
Good afternoon to all of you, and thank you, Chair. I will start by thanking the ADRI for inviting me in this international conference, and I am here. My talk will be on the capacity development, the role of CSOs, and NGOs, and other people in that area, with a particular reference to the SDGs. Yesterday, we have seen the presentation of Chief Statistician, where he has shown one analysis that 23 indicators we are ready. They are conceptually clear, data is available nationally. I am talking about nationally, not the global one. That 23 indicators are such that we don't have any problem in accessibility of those set of indicators. But the another 34 indicators, they were in tier 2, for which we had the methodology, but we require some effort to develop the database for those sets of indicators. The remaining in the third set of indicator, tier 3, where the data and methodology is not available. My saying by methodology, I am talking about the international methodologies, internationally accepted and agreed methodologies, not the domestic methodologies, not the our country own methodology. For example, the time use survey. Time use survey has no statistical international standard so far. Only what is available, that international classification of time use activities, that is available. Some handbook has also been released, but they are not internationally accepted by the Union Nations Statistical Commission, which is the at international level fixing the international standards. It does not mean that we cannot domestically develop our methodologies and go for the time use survey. In fact, we are ready with that survey instruments. Coming before here on 22nd of June this month, we have discussed and finalized the survey instruments like design, like schedules and other things, and we shall be launching very soon the time use survey. So but this is our domestic methodology. This is our own methodology. There is no international methodology available for that. So those set of indicators, which is in the tier 3, they don't have the international acceptability. They are not internationally agreed, or they have been accepted at a appropriate forum. So that kind of problem. So the 23 indicators and 34, it does not reflect directly reflect the statistical capacity of our Indian statistical system. Why I am saying that? If we go by the World Bank study taken in last year, 2015, they had taken some parameters: the methodology, the integrity of statisticians, the dissemination procedure, the data collection procedure, and they designed about 24 points. They had given the different weightage to all those 24 points, taken some average or simple average or so that. And in that ranking, India scored 77.8. Top performing countries scored 91. The China, if you compare with the China, they scored only 70. And if you go the South African countries like Brazil, they scored only 65.8. So it does not mean that our statistical system is very, very imperfect. This is not imperfect. We have the capacity, but there is a scope for reform. There is a scope. No, the highest score is 90. So you can think of but there is no world country which has the perfect statistical system. There is the data gap. There is some time lag problem in dissemination of data. There are certain problems. In India, what the statistical capacity means in the World Bank definition, or generally it is not some definition adopted by someone or some agreed international definition. But as per the World Bank, they say there should be the institutional structure, processes should be in place, data collection mechanism should be there, and dissemination should be quick. The integrity of statisticians should also be there. That is the criteria on which they are defining. So far, the infrastructure institutional structure is concerned. You know that we have the decentralized system. We have institutions at the central government level for data collection, state government level for the data collection, district level, the state governments collects the data, it is their responsibility, the state subject data is being collected by them, the central subject data is collected by them, and the data from the state flows to the central government, and there is appropriate mechanism is already. So far as the process is concerned, we are conducting our surveys on the scientific basis. The NSSO surveys scientifically designed. The department surveys, either at the central ministry level, they are properly designed, they are there. The only problem, it means that we do not need any major reform in our statistical system so far as the institutional structure and processes are concerned. But of course, there are the areas where reform is necessary. They are the small areas, but they are not the small, but the very, very critical areas. The area where we are lagging is the data gaps in many sectors, which has been talked about in so many sessions. Either it is gender, or it is education, or it is health, everywhere there is a recognized fact that there is a lot of data gaps. This data gaps has been further, will be more if we see the challenges what has been come through the SDGs. SDGs really demand a very, very huge, large data set, which the budget statistical system is not in a position to feed or to collect all those data sets. Why that I will come, why it is that I will describe. So, the foremost thing, if you see today the problem in the statistical system, many data sets, what is available, they are not, the metadata for that is not. Metadata poses a specific problem, what to talk about the data gaps, but the metadata, if it is attached with every data set, you will not have any problem in understanding the data, the interpretation of data, the right interpretation of data, and comparable. You can maintain the comparability. If definition is changing or something, concept is changing or something, you can always, you are the research, involved in the research, academics and all that, you can always adjust that data according to the metadata. So that problem will be over if the metadata. So metadata is the major, a gray area in our statistical system. The NSS releases all the data with the metadata, and that metadata is available on the ministry's site. Anybody can refer any round, that metadata is available. So, first thing, the gray area is in the metadata, how to fulfill the metadata. Second, there is a coordination problem among the government agencies. Sub-ministry, there are the duplication efforts, and the results produced by one government agency does not match with the result of the another government agency. So there should be a proper coordination mechanism. For this we have the Statistical Act, what has come in 2008, and the rules in 2010. And also we have issued some guidelines in the form of notification, budget notification in 2014. That is now being followed, and this problem, the coordination problem is coming, and we are taking care of that coordination problem. Another problem with the the disaggregation. The disaggregated data, why I am saying, because our surveys are based on the household surveys. Individual surveys we don't conduct. So getting the data by age, by sex, by within household data. Now I will, within household data, if I talk about the poverty, take one example of poverty or hunger or health or education, anything. All the data is based on the household. So if I want to find out the poverty within the household, that requires disaggregated data by age, by sex, by employment and other factors, which is not urgently possible from the household survey data. So the disaggregated, if I go to invest all the government resources, all the available resources, I have the infrastructure, I have the logistics, I have the institutional setup, I have everything. All the government resources is spent on the statistics development in India also. We may not be able to produce the data required, the challenge posed by the SDCs. Why? Because that data dissemination has to be seen from the government policy angle, government act, constitution, laws, every other things. Some data cannot, for some reason or some other reason, but it is not as per our the act and something. For example, if you take most countries don't produce the data for the reason. They don't want, because their constitution doesn't allow, like the South African countries or any other East, West Asia countries and something like that. Some countries does not allow to the reason. So that is the problem, because disaggregated data we can calculate some, but that dissemination has to be seen from the angle of the laws, policies, and all that.
3 minutes.
Even I was coming with really the problem of the national SDGs from the global one, how to integrate the global in the national. So these are some problems, and now I have been warned by this chair, I have only a few minutes. So I will conclude like this, because if I am going to discuss the integration part from global to national, how the global target and the global indicators, how they can be integrated in our national things. Because national process has to start now. Niti Aayog has already taken some exercises on this, and this is going on. This is the consultation of the MOSPI, and it is going on. The exercise is going on. The result will be, some draft will be ready in few days' time. So I am not able to explain all those things, the global and the, because that was the important for here. Anyhow, I'm just describing the role of CSOs and the researchers, because they are the major stakeholders in our achievement of SDGs. The survey data, the CSOs can play a very, very significant role in guiding the policy directions. Policy formulations will based on their feedback, because they are real in the ground. NGOs or researchers. Researchers can also produce some estimation technologies with the within the availability of data today. We are not able to go by sub state level data, that district level or below that level. How can it be estimated with the existing size of the NSS surveys or any other household surveys? Some small area technique should be developed or something like that. Anyhow, these are some areas where the research is required, low-cost survey and other things that can be really pursued by the researchers, and the government can only implement. That cannot be pursued at all. So this is the involvement of our CSOs in that area, and we have to we have to explore some non-traditional data sources like big data, spatial data, how they can be standardized, how they can be included for this. Because if you take the environment, climate or any other things, the traditional data method is not going to serve the purpose. So we have to look for the non-official data, we have to look for the non-traditional data. There are some problem of the statistical properties problem associated with that, because they don't fit today the big data, the spatial data, they don't fill up all those properties, and therefore the civil CSOs, researchers, academia, everyone can give an appropriate methodologies for accepting as an official standard. Thank you very much. I am again going to be.
Thank you, Mr. Krishna. Thank you so much. In fact, now I invite Mr. P Mondal to speak. He will be speaking on the activities and operations of NSSO, and will also try to clear some of the misunderstandings which people have in their minds about NSSO. Mr. P.
Good afternoon to all of you. And first of all, I would thank Chairperson Gupta for inviting me, particularly this, particularly honoring that Professor P. Ghosh, who is my senior alumni. And this, I will go straight. I will start few things about because it is statistical system. Now in India, statistical system is decentralized one. So, and of course NSS started because there are all ministries and they do collect some information. I will not go all in detail because the last 2.5 days I see that most of you know quite well about the data, how it is coming and how this. I don't think that I could add anything, but even I will repeat some of the things. First of all, that NSS directorate, which was created just to collect some data for this development planning, this policies, and that was in 1949. And interestingly, that is in Ministry of Finance. And then it was transferred to Cabinet Secretariat in 1957. And still then everything was going as usual. This department, this directorate, used to collect this only data. And ISI and all this writing report and all plans, everything used to be done by other agencies, and including Indian Statistical Institute. And in 1970, it has been merged into one organization, and that was called National Sample Survey Organization. And I was working in National Sample Survey Organization for a long time, and almost last 12 years I am away from so-called statistical system. In between I was in Ministry of Water, and certainly water is also one of the best social security indicators, and that is and surprisingly that I don't know whether all of you know or not, and probably data collection agency is much bigger than even NSS or any other organization for collecting data on water in Government of India. So that is under this Ministry of Water and Central Water Commission. So I worked there as as a statistical advisor, but their number of actually requirement as per international norm, it should have been threefold, not around 5,000. It should have been more than 12,000 these workers for collection of data. So that is one issue, but I am not going to that. And other things like this, if I go that straight way that what we understand by social statistics, those things everybody repeated so many times, mist of health, this census, because census collects all type of data, whether administrative data or survey or census, everything that way. But thing is that NSS, that is most important thing, that which are actually collecting a lot of data. And if we see that over the years, how it happened, whatever this late Professor P Mondal thought, how they are important, still now they are important. Because he first thought that processing this division should be independent of those who are collecting data and those who should bring this write the report, and all this should be independent. So all the time, this there are 4 divisions of National Sample Survey Organization, and now we call it National Sample Survey Office, and but remain the same. Now this out of this 4, now survey design and research division, where most of the time I work, and that was the think tank of NSS, and they starting from all technical survey instruments were developed by this division, and then this field operation division, which actually who is actually much older than the survey design, and they collect the data and all this. But FOD has some, that field operation divisions, that FOD has other activities as well. Because some activities, because NSSO is mainly meant for socioeconomic service. People understand that socioeconomic service. Now other activities, other service, they are actually like agriculture statistics. Now it's very interesting that this is also one of the important contribution of Professor Mondal, and since then it is continued, and now it is actually in all states data are collected. And while I came, I thought I am in Patna for not very long time, so still I have already spent 5-6 months. Otherwise, I could have associated earlier all this. Now this, when I went to state, and you are really very surprised that they told that, what is this? We are spending huge money in Bihar, and even then we find the estimates are so low, and our estimate is so high. Why it is so? So I tried to explain. You see, this is thing is that what FOD does, FOD only goes a very small number of sample property experiments, and that is actually done by state official in the presence of this FOD official, and that estimate is so low. That means you have to think of that where FOD officials are not going, how it has been done. So it's not that because they are really surprised that we are pouring so much money into this system, but even then this yield is not increasing that much. So anyway, that is another thing. And then there is actually for any survey, nowadays actually it has increased to manifold data collection agencies, particularly when OpenAI find that IIT is quoted, because that type of organization, many organizations are coming and collecting data. And they are also playing a very important role for collecting data. But even then, class of this FOD FOD has to collect most of the things what is needed for the development plan. Now, things that what I have said that when initial periods, and then in the 60s, now there was an integrated household survey, household inquiry, and that was actually strongly recommended by this subcommission of this UN on statistical sampling, and then of course ILO and this World Bank and all other organizations strongly recommended it. And even today's that World Bank, this study is on the same lines that this living that poverty measurement study, that is actually on the same lines. Now thing is that because that collects all information, all type of information and sample how simple households, and that probably could make our life much easier, particularly when we are focused on so many this SDG indicators. So we are thinking. But anyway, that how it has changed, and we are actually compelled to change over time, because this is one survey. And there is, of course, just to mention that annual survey of industries, that is another this survey, which is very important for everybody. So this CSO's data weighing process this data, but this is collected by everybody. So this is the only this survey which is based on this law, so that this informant are compelled to give some information, the return, submit their return, otherwise they will be penalized. And of course, we are doing for next round also some socio-economic survey for big enterprises, that will be as per law, but in general that is. Now that is a problem in our country, because this is a voluntary data collected. And once it is voluntary, I will give you many examples, because I was in the field very long time. I have hundreds of stories, and only one story I will say, that one of my investigators has gone to the field, and by chance a professor of statistics has been selected. So he was given and he was asked, and then my investigator told that, sir, you are selected. Then he discussed for half an hour, and then he told, I know that you have a method for substitution. Please substitute me. So, thing is that these are the, when I am always in dilemma, when I hear that advocacy is really very good thing to get information. Now, thing is that I have seen the most interior part of the country, wherever I have gone, there is no problem at all for collecting any data. But it's the problem of data, collection of data, and that is in the who are well aware of the things, they know and they may not give the information. So here I don't know, because of course all countries they think that this should be voluntary. Of course some countries they give some, they have to, everybody has to give information if a statistical person go. But so far I think that we are not thinking anything like that. So that is one of the things that if we certainly advocacy is needed, like census, that all the time it is advertised during census that if somebody does not give, then he will be arrested or he will be taken action or something. So that type of thing is not here, purely volunteering. And so those who know the things, and sometimes we do not come forward, we do not think it is our responsibility to give the correct information. So all the time when I go to the field and when I try to convince, you see, you cannot blame government. People are going with honesty. They are asking you the questions, and you should give the correct information. If you don't give, then you cannot think that government is giving this such and such estimate like that. So these are really big problems. And one way we think, we expect many things, and we do not understand our responsibility. That is another problem of this. Now this, how we make the quality? Because quality is certainly one of the, because this is of course sample survey, pure sample survey things. Because what is done in NSS, because first of all in field level supervisors check, and then assistant director, deputy director up to DDG level, they inspect the samples on random basis. Of course, it may not be random basis, but when I am here, normally I go on random basis. So that is one thing, and then of course there is a field scrutiny programs, and that is based on that questionnaires. There are of course any survey, this methodology will prescribe that, and all things are actually, it is in NSS. So field scrutiny program, and then there is a field adaptive scrutiny program, then there is a hot scrutiny program, so that will be done by senior officers, and then there are these computer scrutiny programs, and finally ADRI. So all these things are taken. So if we can think of, first thing when I got this schedule and at this through that computer this scrutiny, then how many errors came, then it was certainly a very big number. In spite of that, this humanly, people are thinking that not many errors are there, but even then, there are so many inconsistencies because NSS questionnaires or schedules are normally so big and sometimes interlinked, so it's very difficult to make it purely consistent, because not only data collected, even information is not consistent, because when we ask the questions, many of the questions is not so easy. That informant only just they will often say that the answer. They have to sit for 5-10 minutes, then only they can give correct information. And there are a lot of study on non-sampling errors, and it's not so easy. So I think that these are really problems. There are much more problems, because when we think that NSS, but one thing I am personally convinced that if this survey methodology and nothing is changed, questionnaire is not changed, then at least it will reflect the change. It may not give you the cross-sectional estimates, but it will certainly give true picture of this how it is changing. And I think that is more important, because but issue is sometimes what do you want? Whether we want the present condition or we want the measure of change. There is a problem. Because sometimes it happens. In the past, if you could recall, but because that is long back, I was fully associated with that, because that 55th round service that made so much, because one person has gone and then it became totally different. That was so many people said that contamination of data, but everybody knew it that what we are going to get, and one person was not there, so everything has changed. Now, so thing is that we have to understand that only what because whether we want to keep consistency or comparability, consistency of course in any case has to be there, whether we want comparability or because there is an issue always, because today also we heard many times, many times we have seen that there is no comparative rounds, whether it is SRAM or anything we have done. But things that we have to improve in any case. We need to know that present what it is. Then we can adjust for how we can compare with the other data. But certainly we should not miss this presence. We need to have the realistic estimates of the presence what we are doing. Comparison should go to the next. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we have still about 10 minutes time, so we can take some questions. I request you to keep the questions short and short and pointed, so that we can take as many questions as we can, and we will have many questions.
I'll stand up and shout so that you can hear me. You're audible otherwise.
Hello. There's one point I think both of you mentioned that there's need to improve. But there's one fact that you did not talk about, and I thought that should be brought up. To bring that fact out, let me tell you a story which involves a person who is not here, the person who was to have chaired the next session. His name is Satish. I won't describe anything else except when the census people came to his house, they asked him his name. So he said Satish Jain. So the fellow immediately went on ticking a few of the boxes, and then he said, okay. So the Satish said, what did you tick? He ticked him off as a Hindu. So Satish said, but I am not a Hindu. So he said, so what language do you speak at home? So he said, Hindi. Everybody must be a Hindu. Now, the problem is the guy did not know that Jains are not Hindus. The question is that Satish, of course, made this fellow's life hell later on. I won't get into that I can tell you during tea. But the fellows who go out collecting data, that is the person you need to train. And some of that training is not happening. So you need, it is difficult. Why? Because you need a large number of them. And where do you get so many people? So you suddenly get some people and send them out. And the data that you worry about quality.
Respond to that, respond to that?
Thank you, sir. it's true that first of all, we need to understand that in census, lakhs of people work, and controlling them and giving training we cannot think of. So what is important in census, we should keep minimum this number of questions. And we feel that we should get more and more information, but I don't think that it's really requirement, because if we have a good sample survey and all the time it is found, if we think that we believe in statistics, then only sampling error is the person, and we can know that how much it can differ. And if we know that, it's more important that it should be concentrated most of the things in sample survey. Now that is one thing. Now thing is that it is true that this type of problems, because there are sometimes some complaints for FOD officials as also. Because thing is that system is changing over time, and suddenly, because earlier days investigators used to go to field and they are compulsory used to camp, and in the initial stage, in the 50s and 60s, all investigators would have one peon with them, so they would carry with them. That thing changed. Also, things have changed over time, and there is, in fact, now our people are more, so we get so much comfort, facilities and all this. So sometimes they don't go to the field early in the morning, they don't stay in the night, and so there are some difficulties in sampling also. These are the actual practical difficulties today we are facing. But certainly it was much better earlier, but because of changing circumstances, we cannot control this.
Things are getting worse
So you see, thing is that these few things, whatever you feel that you cannot think of this, because this is extreme. So that of course your feeling will say.
Yeah, any more question? Yeah, please.
I just wanted an information, since you are in that system, about that NSSO unit level data. I was just wondering why it is so high, price is so high, and how should we acquire it, you know? And number two, even if we acquire it, is there any system for a researcher to know how to decode it? Do you give any training to a researcher? This is number one. And number two, to you, sir, you have spoken about non-traditional data set. If you can kindly elaborate on it, you know, 1 or 2 points. Thank
Well,
you.
Mr. Krishna can respond first, and then yeah. You respond first, and then
Okay. So far, I will take 1 minute. I will just supplement this, saying that we do realize the importance of the training, the investigators training, and while they are going to the field, I mean, scrutiny or inspection or any other stage, they are properly trained. But should I give you the detail about the training? The initial we train, after in service we train, going to the round, there is a mechanism of All India TOT, training of trainers, which is held before launch of any round of survey. Thereafter, that TOT, they go to the regional offices, they train the individual investigators how to ask the question, how this. But what are, you know, this is the individual matters who is collecting the data. Sometimes he may take that kind of so far. So the second point is on the non-traditional data sources. Non-traditional data sources, they are like big data. Big data, what is the big data that are flowing through the electronic media or the press or any kind of media and other things. So they are the big data. For example, disaster data, if you take, we don't have any data. It is only in the print media. We don't have any disaster database. Disaster statistics we did not compile till date. though everything is ready, but MHA is to take the action to operationalize that portal what we have developed for online data entry at the field. They are the responsible agencies, they have to initiate in that. So, the things what is moving through the media, they are in the textual form. The problem associated is how to convert that volume and velocity of data in the statistical information, statistical data. Number two, in big data, if you take there, that is the problem. You see only some, the WhatsApp, the data coming on the WhatsApp, the data coming on the internet, the data coming through some gossip, some site, Facebook or some any other sources. Okay. So this the mobile urgently, though it has the adequate, I mean very density, the tele density is very high, but still it is being used and operated. How many people are taking into one of these WhatsApp uses? Only the, I mean, affluent class or the some rich people, they are some learned people, they are savvy of that and there. But the poor, that most of them, many of them don't use the that social media site. So if that data is taken into account for the statistical analysis, that will not be the representative of the total society. So these are some problems where further research is needed. The UN Statistical Commission has set up one expert group. The third expert group is going to meet in New York in July. They are still finding what are the ways coming to make them as a statistical standard.
Mr. Kumar, you can stop now because you have to respond to the question.
I can see this about data cost. I think for students and researchers it is less, but if you see that earlier, and it was really problem to get it. Now this is not a problem for getting data. In fact, I was thinking that what I planned to explain all these things, how to get, and but most of you have used, so you know that how to get this data from computer center. But they are quite cheap, and particularly for reports, of course, that's not much useful, but some people do use for research. So those reports can be downloaded easily. So that is free of cost. But suddenly costing is not much, because costing, if we have that total costing, then it becomes a huge, but that cannot be considered. It is only this, for particularly students and researchers, it is much less. I think that...
I think there was one, somebody raised his hand from this side. Yeah, last question. Keep your question short. And name the panelists your questions and
Sir, in your immutable presentation, you have listed several things regarding the statistical survey and the problems through which statistical personnel are confronted while they go to the remote places. I have rendered my 32-year service as a statistical personnel, and I have experience during the statistical work. That while I was posted at Gaya in 2011, so census work was being done there. So there are certain Naxal-infected areas there. So even the administrative officer and police officer fear to go there because Naxals are very active there. So what I saw there, that investigator who had assigned the duty to conduct the survey.
Keep it short. What's the question, please?
Actually did the work in paper. So it is my personal suggestion that while conducting or allowing the statistical personnel to go to the remote places where it is a trouble-inflicted area, so some privileges and precautions should be taken and guidelines should be instructed to the administrative department to that places. And so in that particular cases, statistical work and survey will be done with accuracy and precision. That is my particular suggestion, what I have expected.
Okay, thank you. There's another hand from that side. Yeah.
Hello, I am Kumar, Assistant Professor at ADRI. There are 4 estimates of the GSTP, like advanced estimate, weak estimate, provisional estimate, and final estimates. It seems that all 3 figures may change except final estimates. What is the reason behind change in the final estimate of the GSTP?
I just want to bring the ground reality.
No, just please, short and point question, half a minute.
Yeah. So you mentioned about, both of you mentioned about the training of personnel for data collection. But you have to ensure, how do you ensure that they are actually collecting the data? One example is that I went to a block officer, and I went to the village and found out the data. There was a discrepancy. Block officer told me that it is we ourselves fill the data sitting in our office, or ask the Mukhia to fill up the forms. How do you rectify the situation?
Very short. Just one minute. You address the question of Mr. Bakshi.
Yeah. You see that one thing, suddenly this issue is taken care of for these areas which cannot be accessed easily because of some difficulties. So what NSS does, and then instead of 1 person, 2 persons go, and so that this somehow they can take care and they give the information to the local authorities. So much more than that it is not possible. And when it is not at all possible, there of course people are not going. So that is a casualty case. So that is and another thing about estimates, actually any estimates when it is given and suddenly it is not done the whole work. So this processing stage is there. So every stage it changes. First of all forecasting stage, and then it against some when data entry is done, and then data validation is done. So that way it may change a little bit. Not always changes, much changes, but sometimes all data are not available. So only based on sample data it is generated, because some estimates have to be given because of timeline. So these things, when complete data, complete validation is there, then only final estimate is there. So there is every logic for certain changes.
Okay, thank you. We will wind up here. Thank you, panelists, and thank you, audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. There's again some change. We are going, don't leave the room.